welcome to the show. I'm your host, Michelle Vandepass, and today our guest is Dr. Connie Stapleton, and she's written a great book called Eat It Up. Now, the book is for people who are going through or have weight loss surgery, but there's some really good points in here that can be really helpful to all of us, not those going through weight loss surgery. So welcome to the show, Dr. Stapleton.
Thank you for having me. I'm very excited about this.
Now, at first I was like, I don't know about weight loss. It's not really a subject I know much about. And then I read that over 200,000 people a year get weight loss surgery. That is sort of like relevant to everybody suddenly, because that's a lot of people.
And do you know that that's only 1% of the people who are eligible for the surgery? So
Wow.
There are a lot of people.
Is that a United States statistic?
Wow, that's a good question. I'm not exactly sure on that one.
Whatever, probably, however many though, that's just so many people. We all have this problem with so much junk food and bad eating habits, and we're on the go, and especially, in the western part of the world, we go all the time, and so we just grab snacks. But you talk a lot about how weight loss and keeping the weight off after surgery is an emotional piece, not so much a junk food piece.
Absolutely. The food portion is only a small bit of that. So there's a lot of psychological issues associated with keeping the weight off.
Okay, so let's delve into that. Do you eat when you're happy? Do you eat when you're unhappy? Do you eat when you have emotional ups, emotional downs? Tell me where to start here.
That's a very good place to start, because a lot of people, and I think a lot of people aren't even aware until after they've had the surgery, what their emotional triggers are related to food or what the underlying psychological issues are. But, for example, I've had a person tell me that the night they've come home from the hospital, they have found themselves going to the refrigerator, and she counted 7 times that she mindlessly just got up and went to the refrigerator looking for food out of habit.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know for myself, I do eat. Obviously, I'm not a candidate for weight loss surgery or anything like that, but I notice that I eat when I'm happy, I eat to celebrate, I eat when I'm sad. But that's not just here. That's sort of, worldwide. We all have food associated with celebrations. So how can we learn to bring that into control so we're not just eating for every excuse under the sun?
Well, it takes a lot of mindfulness, a lot of awareness, and it takes a lot of doing things like journaling when you're eating and how you're feeling when you're eating. And for people who don't overeat or don't consume huge portions, it's not an issue. But it's very important for people after the surgery to develop these habits so they can keep that weight off for a lifetime.
Okay, so we got to develop good habits, do some journaling. It comes back to really knowing yourself, doesn't it?
It does, and that's an important thing, and that's what my book is about, because people getting ready for the surgery, oftentimes it's like getting ready for a wedding. You look for the cake and the flowers and the dress and all the fun things that go along with it, but you don't think so much about life on a daily basis as a married person, which is the same with this weight loss surgery. It's like, get me ready for the surgery. I want to have the surgery, so it's all about prep for that, as opposed to what's it going to be like trying to maintain this kind of lifestyle after the surgery.
All right, now you got something in your book, an analogy about whack-a-mole, where you're whacking, that old game from the arcade where you're whacking the mole down.
My favorite game.
Yeah, so tell me, explain that and what moles we're all whacking down in our lives.
Okay. We are whacking down moles right and left. We've got a food mole, and if that's not available to us, then maybe alcohol becomes an issue. You whack that mole down, and maybe spending becomes an issue. You whack that one down, maybe it's gambling. The idea is people are turning to substances or unhealthy behaviors rather than dealing with things that are bothering them. And so part of this is learning how to cope with stressful situations in healthy ways.
People that have had really traumatic childhoods or really stressful situations, divorce, those kinds of things, is it harder to bring it under control when you have a really dramatic childhood or a really dramatic event?
I think that depends on how willing a person is to acknowledge the drama and the trauma. If a person is very much in denial about any kind of trauma they endured or is stuck in that my parents were perfect kind of thing, it's much more difficult because they're not looking at the issues from a realistic standpoint. So part of it is breaking through that denial. But if a person is willing to address those issues or willing to address the current stressors in their life, it's much easier to learn these new behaviors and to implement them.
So what do you suggest people do to address those issues? Therapy? You mentioned journaling already, but what else?
Well, therapy is a wonderful thing to do. First of all, people who have the surgery have the opportunity to attend aftercare groups, and that's essential. They've got to attend those for as long as they're willing, which hopefully is years and years. The problem with that, though, is most support groups are only once a month. And for people who are in recovery from any other substance addiction, they have options of going to AA or NA meetings all day, every day. So there are a lot of wonderful online support, because the thing with obesity and changing your lifestyle is nobody can do it for you, but you can't do it alone. So you've got to have a tremendous amount of support.
Support, journaling, dealing with your issues. It doesn't just sound like weight loss. This is really what most people, if they're into any kind of personal growth, are things that we work on. Knowing yourself and working through your stuff.
That's right. That's exactly right. Working through the stuff.
Yeah. So the book is Eat It Up, and my guest is Dr. Connie Stapleton, and it's a great book.